Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Shore Ave Radio.
Hold on. Let me do a proper intro. So once again, this is Cal C. I know I said I was going to be taking a break for about a week or so. And then the last I left things was like, I'm going to drop some episodes about the Olympics. That was the intention, but honestly, the break turned into 1 week, 2 weeks. Now we're on week 6. And I realized something during that time that it was probably something I actually have not done, at least not with purpose in terms of taking a break, because sometimes it's needed. And I won't lie to you, man, it was needed. I needed to take the break away from it for a little bit. I was like mentally tired and exhausted. There's just been so much going on in the last little while. Everything's good on this end right now. But I just needed a mental break. I didn't realize it at the time, but as the month of August kept going by, and I'm like, you know what? I'll wait till next week. And then the next week came, and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of enjoying this time. And I had to take it. It was needed, man. And honestly, I feel not good. I feel great. It was absolutely needed. I realized that was probably the best thing for me. And the times where I've taken a break, it was usually some sort of circumstance that was kind of blocking it, but I always wanted to keep working. And this is probably the first time in the history of doing my pods that where I was like, I just needed to just not record for a while and just take a break. Like I needed to like mentally refresh and start over. And it did wonders. I would say that much. So I'm greatly appreciative for that break. I apologize for not putting out episodes sooner, but trust me, it was best for all parties involved. Like I just needed that break. I feel great. I feel awesome. I feel recharged. I'm ready to go. I'm rearing to go, and just see where everything takes us into the near future, man. I'm like looking to do a lot of things in the next little while. So I am charged up, man. I'm ready to go. And with that said, on this new episode of the Ave Podcast, we're talking football, man. The NFL is back. Week 1 is already started. As of this intro, Buffalo just beat the living crap out of the Miami Dolphins. And I don't know what's going to happen with Tua's career right now, because that is like the 3rd heavy concussion that he's taken. And he's a young player. I know we just re-upped and signed for a lot of money. But, your health is the biggest thing, even long after the game is gone, right? So I don't know what's going to happen with him going forward. It doesn't seem like the concussion is as big as the other ones that he had in the previous years. That when that number keeps adding up, that's not the math you want to do, right? So I guess we'll see what happens with him. But like I said, as of this recording, the week 1 is already passed. Week 2 is just underway. I've invited a friend of the podcast, Roger Callender, as well as CIS former All-Star, 2005 Canada West All-Star for University of Manitoba, Mr. Carey Joseph. I had him on one of my last episodes regarding football at the beginning of the year. And we had a great conversation regarding the Tyreek Hill's surreal and crazy arrest. What in the actual fuck is going on with Deshaun Watson? We break down our top underrated teams of this season, and then we just kind of wrap up week 1 as well. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you for locking in. I don't want to hold up the episode from starting for much longer, but I got to say this once again. South Shore Ave is available wherever you listen to podcasts. As always, wherever you listen to podcasts, hit that like and subscribe button. Give me those 5 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, please. Thank you. It's greatly appreciated, and it drives the show going forward. And make sure you lock into the website as well at southshoreave.com. Once again, that is southshoreave.com. My name is Cal C, and this is the Ave Podcast right here on South Shore Ave Radio. Let's go!
Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Shore Ave Radio.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast, where I am joined by friends of the podcast, Mr. Roger Callender and Mr. Carey Joseph. How you guys doing today?
Not too bad, Cal C. Not too bad. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing, Carey?
I'm very good, very good. What's up, fellas?
Yeah, man. looking to talk about this NFL season, man. About that's basically 1 week in right now. Haven't done a football pod since the Super Bowl, so we're coming back and giving it to you. Not like Shannon Sharpe. We're not giving it to you like Shannon Sharpe. Just a couple levels below that. Just a couple levels below that. But not like Shannon. Not like Shannon. Not like Shannon. No Instagram.
Well, you ain't feeling Club Shay Shay, bro? Huh? You're not feeling Club Shay Shay, man? You're not feeling Club Shay Shay?
Oh, I guess you don't know what happened.
No, maybe I'm out of the loop. Oh boy, what happened now?
Well, he was. This isn't a kid friendly show. He was. He was juking, and his Instagram live went on.
Oh boy, I did not hear that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I say we're a few levels below Shannon Sharpe, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Definitely, because I got a drink in my hand, but I ain't doing all the extra.
Wow, that is wow. That's something. Okay.
Yeah, you couldn't.
All right.
You couldn't see it, but you could hear it.
Okay. Okay.
Welcome to the NFL, everybody. Welcome to the NFL.
Yeah.
Giving you that hard-hitting journalism.
Thank you for giving us the update.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
No problem. The show, giving it a strokes of thought. That's what we do here. That's it. Oh man, but I mean, there's so much to get into here, man. But you know what? Before we go with our top 5, which I actually had to narrow down to top 4 because I really couldn't pick a top 5 underrated teams. But honestly speaking, man, I mean, the news of the weekend of the season so far is this Tyreek Hill situation, this arrest that happened on Sunday morning, which was pretty crazy and pretty ridiculous. I know everybody's talking about it, but I know we haven't spoken on it yet, so I want to kind of share our thoughts a little bit on it because I mean that's pretty unprecedented to start off the season in that manner. But Carrie, I'll start with you first, man. What was your thoughts when that came about? When it came across your screen or your phone on Sunday morning?
It's upsetting, man. This is something that's been going on for a long time. In terms of police brutality and, just police officers just abusing their power. Mm-hmm. The first thing I would say is that I wish that Tyreek would have complied a little bit more.
Right.
But even if he did, the possibility of that happening was still there.
Right.
It's something that my mom taught me when I was very young. Like, when you are in a situation with police, you do what you need to do to get out of there alive, and we'll deal with that case afterwards.
Right.
My issue with police officers is that they're not, I feel like they're not coached and taught how to de-escalate situations.
Right.
That regardless if Tyreek is talking the way he is, to pull the man out of his car, handcuff him face down on the street is unnecessary.
Right.
But that's the reality that a lot of black people face, especially in America. And the thing that really resonates with me is the fact that these police officers have body cams on. And they're still doing what they're doing. Imagine what was going on before.
Exactly.
Like, they don't care. They really truly feel like they're above the law. And that's the problem. They don't treat people with dignity and respect. And they just, that, and another thing I'll say before I pass it on is that we know that not all cops are bad. But a good cop that doesn't check a bad cop, you're a bad cop too, in my opinion. And that's the problem. We don't have enough of these good cops standing up.
Well, something that you said before was, they're not taught to de-escalate a situation, or I mean, they are, but it's not exercised. The balance of power and showing the, to respect the badge and have that power of authority ranks higher than de-escalating situations, right?
But this is my thing, Cal. Hold on. Were they taught, like, we've all done training at work where it's, hey, go on this computer. You have an online course. Click some buttons.
Yeah.
Okay, now you know how to de-escalate. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they really putting time, effort, money into coaching and teaching and training police officers to de-escalate? I have huge issues with that.
No,
getting pulled out of your car for a traffic violation is wild.
It's crazy. It's
extreme
for anybody, but
it's extreme. It's very extreme.
But go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say. I mean, I agree with 100% with Kerry. I do wish that he might have handled the situation a little better. He did. I was reading an article a little bit earlier today where he was explaining one of the reasons why he was rolling up his window was because he didn't want people to take pictures of him, which I could understand. You're driving a Lamborghini, you get pulled over by the cops. He did hand the cops his identification, and then he rolled up the window, and I guess rolling up the window is what escalated the situation with the police, because they figured, I don't know. They kind of went off. And I do agree. Like, I mean, I feel like I've never had, personally, I've had experiences with cops, but it's been more positive than negative. Thank God, luckily. I do feel like what they deal with in the United States is a lot different than what we deal with. I feel like cops, I feel like they are taught how to de-escalate, but I feel like they don't exercise it. And I feel like that badge almost is like an elixir for them. It makes them feel like they have this authority to do and say whatever they want to you, regardless of what the situation is. There's no reason why a traffic stop should end up with this man being face down on the ground, handcuffed. And then when other teammates come to his aid, like Calais Campbell, all of a sudden he gets arrested as well. I felt like it was just totally overblown. It was just totally over the top. When I saw the video, I literally cringed. I mean, I wasn't shocked because obviously we hear about things like this happen all the time.
And plus we saw clips of it happening while, on Sunday as well, right?
Exactly. I can't say I was surprised. The aggression by the cop, by the one cop who did arrest him, was just completely over the top. And I do agree with Kerry. I mean, there are a lot of good cops out there, but unfortunately, all it takes is one bad cop and all the good cops to kind of follow and back him up, because I almost feel like that's the code, right? That's
the code. Yeah,
it's the code. You have to back him up. If you don't back him up, you look like you're not part of the team. You're not, and that could lead to all sorts of other issues down the line. So I get that as well. But the problem is that there's so many bad apples, and I feel like a lot of them just aren't trained properly, and they do not have the proper temperament to actually be cops in the first place. I feel like to be a cop, you should have to go through more than 4 or 5 months worth of training. You have a gun, you have a stun gun, you have tools that could actually kill people. Doctors take years before they are actually allowed to operate on people or even see patients. Cops have guns, and they're thrown into very high tension situations, and I feel like a lot of them don't have the skills to deal with it.
That's a great
point. And they just completely freak out, or sometimes they do things that are completely just totally out of their character because they're in such a stressful situation. And I just feel like it's not dealt with, and they don't talk about it enough, and things like this end up happening.
And to me, it's funny because remember, Roger, I mean, we saw each other on Sunday, right? So when I saw it come across my screen, honestly, I thought it was like maybe I flipped the channel by mistake. You know what I mean? I thought it was maybe on the movie channel or something, like some part of a show. So I thought maybe it was my mistake, and I was looking at it wrong because I was like doing stuff in the house while it was happening, because obviously this is pregame, right? I was watching an NFL game day, but when I saw it, I was confused. But then when you see the video, obviously it goes without saying that it was extremely excessive. And, and here's why. I mean, think about it. He was speeding in a construction zone, right? I think he was doing 20 miles an hour over the speeding limit at that point in the construction zone. So even if, you don't know who the player is, right? Just based on proximity, you're 2 blocks or about a block and a half, 2 blocks away from the stadium, right? You're seeing all these, much less his car, you're seeing all these other expensive cars pretty much, I'm sure, driving by in that area. So you'd have to assume that, like, okay, these guys are these might be some players, these might be somebody involved in the game. Seeing that when Jonu Smith rolled up, he was driving a Rolls Royce truck. So it tells you that there's like a certain level of money that's coming in through coming down the street. So they might be associated with the stadium.
Calais Campbell is 6'9", 300 pounds.
Exactly.
The man's you can tell right away. That they're football players. Like these guys know who they were.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't care. They didn't care.
And it's wild because that's a lot of money they handcuffed.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, man. It just goes to show you. It just goes to show. Yeah, it just goes to show, man. I mean, regardless of how much money you have, how popular you are, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You could still find yourself in that type of situation, right? Imagine all the black men that's probably happened to before him that was not caught on camera, or they weren't celebrities, so they weren't able to bring the type of visibility that this has. Like, I mean, it happens all the time. And unfortunately, we just put up with it because it's gone to a point where we just get used to it. And I feel like we're almost like, it's just constant trauma. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's constant trauma to the point where you just get used to it and you just figure it's a way of life. I mean, I'm just glad that there was as much uproar as there was. The Miami team came out. They had a huge statement. A lot of his white teammates came out, and they spoke against it as well. That in itself, I feel, is a good thing. Because that's what we need. I mean, black people have been complaining about stuff like this for years and years, but nobody really takes it seriously because they figure, oh, well, black people are reckless or black people just don't like to obey the rules. But when white people come out and they say stuff like this, then all of a sudden it's all over the media.
Right.
So it's good. It's actually got some sort of,
his agent right now, Drew Rosenhaus. He's going on a crusade right now for him, which
I hope so.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
And we need to. I just hope there's actual repercussions for that police officers' actions. And one thing I'd like to say too is like I have a 10-year-old son, and I have to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
I have to tell him, hey, if you're in the future, if you're in this situation, this is what you have to do. Like, black men have to have those conversations with their kids.
At a certain point, it's like the conversation you have to have with them is essentially like you're only going to be cute for so long. Right? Seriously, like you're only going to be cute for so long, right? Like as a kid, right? They're like you're the 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid that's cute, but in 2, 3 years, 4 years, depending on the size of your kid, he's no longer cute. He's considered a threat.
That's right.
So
that's the issue too. At no point in that confrontation with the police officers were those police officers threatened.
Not at all.
So how did it get to where it got to if you weren't threatened? The man didn't have a gun. He wasn't threatening violence towards you. He just didn't want to roll down his window while you wrote him up his ticket. Yeah. Like, really, guys?
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is crazy. And even when he actually lowered the window, you could actually hear the cops saying, "Oh, it's Tyreek Hill. It's Tyreek Hill." It's not as if they didn't know who he was.
Well, at least one of them.
They knew who it was.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, one of the cops said it anyways. So they just didn't give a shit. They didn't care. They're like, whatever.
But my thing
so
is my thing is again, if you broke the law, I get it. We've all got a speeding ticket at one point in our lives, right? But like, the issue I have with them is pulling him out the car, You know, at one point, I mean, they almost put him in a chokehold at one point. Like one of the cops, remember they tried to sit him down? He was about to put him in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I had surgery on my knee. I had surgery on my knee. Imagine if they blew that man's knee.
Yeah. Oh my God. That would have been...
Bro, Miami would have been up in arms.
Miami would have set that police station on fire.
They can't go where they want to go without him.
Well,
no, they can't.
Well, here's the thing too. He had a PRP procedure, like some sort of procedure on his knee this offseason. I don't know if it was quite a surgery, but he had something done on his knee.
It's like a scope.
Yeah,
it's a scope. It was just like a cleanup or something.
He had something done. So it's like, and then allegedly too. I have to go back and watch the video again, but allegedly, like one of the cops, he came close to like stepping on his hand at one point, or like kneeling on his hand. So I'm like, so imagine if you would have fractured his hand.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord.
You would have fractured his main tool that makes him rich.
Like, Miami would have burned down, guy.
Exactly.
Like to me, that's wild. And I'm like, you know, and before we move on, like the one thing I want to add too is like this couldn't have been a worse look for these police officers, because think about any other time of the day. Hell, even later that night. If that happened, this is a completely different story. You know what I mean? And you can maybe even get away with it, right? But the first game of the season, right by the stadium, where you have cuffs on what NFL players themselves voted as the best player in the NFL, much less the Dolphins. Like you made a decision to manhandle that guy on a Sunday morning, right by the Hard Rock Stadium. Like.
Oh, true.
Like to me,
that's
crazy. Like to me, the city and the police and the team usually work in concert with each other on game day, just because of all the protocols and everything else, right? You're gonna have cops near the arena just to make sure, like any other game that's happening in any arena or stadium. You know what I mean? Like on a game day, like you're gonna have a certain level of police officers and everything else. So you kind of work it in concert, right? So like I said, if you're seeing, you know, a Ferrari, a Maserati, a Rolls Royce, of, you know, this and that rolling into like at a certain point in the morning, you know what I mean? Like it's like 10 in the morning, 10 something in the morning.
That's a great point, because they were probably there because of the game,
right?
And the traffic and everything else,
right? Right. So that's what I mean. But I'm just saying, when you're seeing a certain level of cars at a certain point, you got to think, okay, there are probably players going to the arena, you know, going to the stadium. They're probably going to work. So just like I said, if they did something wrong, give them. I'm not saying don't give them a ticket. Just give him a ticket. Let him fight it in court, or shit, he'll probably pay it and whatever.
Man, he's got the money to pay it.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like, yeah,
the game tag is fat.
Yeah.
Listen, break the law, you get a ticket, you pay the consequences. That's fine. But just what happened to him was just completely extreme, over the top, ridiculous. Like, I mean, I can't come up with enough adjectives to describe it. It's insane. It's awful. Thank God it ended the way it did, though. I could honestly say that, because it could have been a lot worse. We all know it could have been a lot worse, because they did put their knee in this guy's back and everything, and you know how that, judging from the past, how that sometimes ends up.
You know what's great, though? That he gets over 100 receiving yards, and when he scores his tug,
mm-hmm.
Did you see the celebration?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't see the celebration. What was it?
Oh, you didn't see it?
One of his boys handcuffs him and walks him to the sideline.
Oh my God! No, I missed that.
So fitting.
But
to jail for you.
But was there any doubt, though, that like once you saw that he was fully dressed, like once I saw that he had his uniform on about an hour before the game, was there any doubt, like,
you knew it was on?
Yeah, was there any doubt he was gonna to bet the over on basically every stat that he had going on that day? Like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, even I did the player props, and I was like, over 90-something yard, over, winning out again, TD, over, recept, over, everything was over, because I'm like, we all played sports. If you're at that level and something like that happens before the first game of the year, you're already on level 10, because it's the first game. You're amped up to go. So when that happens, now you're on a 15.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was Tyreek in HD.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on a mission, no doubt.
No, which
He was
is
on a mission.
yeah, but like I said, I mean, more as this develops, obviously, but to me, that situation was surreal to watch, man, and like while it was happening. Remember, Roger, you're at my house, and we're just both like, "What the hell
I
is
know.
happening here?"
It was crazy, man. It was crazy.
That made no sense. Here's my second question, though. What the hell is going on with Deshaun Watson, man?
It's wild.
What isn't going on with Deshaun Watson? That's what my question
wild.
is. Like, how many lawsuits can this guy possibly be under for like the past 4 years? Like, he's
It's
already
crazy.
been what? Was he sued by 20 different women before? This happened like 4 years ago.
Yeah, you have to pay them out.
Yeah, he paid out 20. I think it was like 20 out of the 22 women.
Yeah.
He paid them out. And then the other 2 ones I think are pending. And now another woman comes forward claiming sexual assault in 2020. And it's like, when's it going to stop, man? When is he going to be able to concentrate on football? Like, his mind, regardless of the injury, like, I know he had a shoulder injury. He was out for the whole 2023. Or actually, no, sorry. He played 9 games, and then the remaining games he was out, and that's when they brought in Joe Flacco and so on. A year before that, he was out for a year when he played with Houston.
Yeah.
I believe they suspended him, non-injury suspension. So they went through the whole season, and he was on the sideline. So he barely has played within the past couple of years.
And then his first year in Cleveland, remember, he got suspended for like 11, 12 games, right?
And then he got suspended again. It's just never ending with this guy, man. If it's not physical, it's mental. Like, it's at the point where he's 29 years old. He looks like shit. Like, he was horrible last week. He was absolutely terrible. But I mean, how much can one person take? Just from a mental, forget about all the injuries, just like from a mental aspect, you're just constantly being under
those
fire.
things together. It's the mental, emotional drain.
Yeah.
Then it's the physical. I mean, a broken bone in your shoulder for a quarterback, that's no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's serious.
I think his confidence is absolutely shot.
Yeah.
I think he's in the wrong system for his skill set.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because man, I thought this was gonna be the Browns' year.
Mm-hmm.
Just they're one of my teams that I was gonna have as underrated, and then I watched that game on that. I was like,
I still kept them on my list, but I feel you, man. I feel you.
Me too. That's why my list is down to 4.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, real bad. But I mean, I agree with Kerry though. He's in the wrong system, 100%. I mean, if you don't believe us, just look at last year when Joe Flacco stepped in, and he had like such a great year. Like, he was throwing touchdowns all over the place. He's more of a pocket passer, less mobile, and yeah,
it's like a quarterback-friendly system. It's like it's that West Coast outside zone, like play action. Like, easy throws, like you said, Flacco went in there and looked great, and this guy can't. He looks average, and it's wild because his arc was like, you would say he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league at one point.
I'd say one of the best.
He actually led the league in yards and passing yards that year where he got a new contract with Houston.
I think it was something like 2020.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2020. Yeah, right before all that stuff blew up with all the women coming out and saying shit. Anyways, he got a contract. It was like, I think, $156 million, 4 years. And that same year, or the year before that, he led the league in passing. Yeah. Like, his trajectory was just straight up, man.
But he was nice. Like, he was legit. Like, Like, this wasn't a fluke. Like, this was legit.
Yeah. He was legit. He was legit. I don't know what the Browns were thinking, to be honest with you, to give somebody a $230 million contract, guaranteed contract, after the guy has literally sat out a year. So, I mean, that in itself is insane to me, especially when they already had him on. He already had a contract. They just took on the contract, the $150 million contract.
Added extra.
But then they thought, let me increase it. Like let me hike it up by what 30.
Well, they had to because there was a bidding war.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a bidding war for his services because people knew he was out. Right. He sat a whole year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miami was trying to go after him. There was at least 10 teams going after him.
100%.
Which at that time would make sense, right?
They did what they had to do to get him, but do you know what they gave up? I looked this up before we got on here. It's wild. 3 first-round picks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
2 fourth-round picks, 1 third-round pick, and then $230 million guaranteed.
Yep.
Crazy. Absolutely insane. Like,
and they're on the hook next year for like $70 million.
Yeah.
They can't even cut them, even if they wanted to.
That's dead money.
It's insane.
That's like half your salary cap.
Yeah, they said it's like an $80 million cap hit or something like that if there was a cut of.
The Browns,
can't even do it.
Poverty franchise.
But that's the thing.
Cleveland can't catch a break.
No, man.
They really can't. And the crazy part is, you know how much it must. You know how much it must sting right now seeing Baker Mayfield, like his last game where he absolutely balled out.
Yeah.
And they let this guy go. And they said, you know what? We don't think you're good enough. We're going to go out and get Deshaun Watson. Like, oh my God. That must burn them even more. Like, I don't know how the dog pound takes it. Like, I don't know how those guys take it.
But again, at the time, to Carrie's point, when there was a bidding war happening, all of this made sense. We're laughing at this now, but it all made sense at that time, except for the fully guaranteed contract.
The guaranteed didn't make sense.
They saw it like, hey, if Kirk Cousins could get it, why can't he? Right? That's what they thought.
That's true. Like Kirk Cousins, $100 million for 3 years. Yo, hold my beer. We're gonna top that. Oh my God, crazy.
But it's wild because, like, as you said, like he had to serve a lengthy suspension for all the sexual assault cases, and he's been rusty the whole time because he hasn't been on the field a lot. You know, his confidence is shot. His accuracy has been taking a huge hit since he's been there. And you can't keep shuffling these PR hits like in the corner of the room. You know what I mean? Like, and now the latest is that, you know, of course he didn't play well for week 1. And so what do the Browns do at this point? Because on top of the fact that he got the second ever guaranteed contract in the league, his contract specifically his contract messed up the market for the owners having to pay quarterbacks now, which is fine for the players, but it completely messed up the market, right?
100%.
And
yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but at this point now, like this extra sexual assault accusation, whether it's true or not, like it's now becoming too much. You know what I mean?
It's too much. It's too much.
And in the NFL, where production is king, like you'll put up with a lot of shit when you're putting up stats. You know, as you know.
That's it. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll put
exactly.
especially the NFL. The NFL will look away or look off a lot of shit. They'll look off a lot of shit if you're putting up the numbers. You know, like a lot of shit. You basically have to murder somebody in order for them to look to basically be like, nah, we can't take Carrie. You know what I mean?
And even at that point, they'd be like, is there proof? Do they have evidence that they killed him?
Did he do it though?
I mean, did he really do it though?
You sure it wasn't
look at the Ray Rice situation. That's a perfect example. It's like, oh, we heard that he assaulted his girlfriend, or I can't remember if it was his wife at the time. But you know what? We don't think it's that bad. We'll just give him 1 or 2 games. The was like, whoa, this guy got suspended for life after that.
Yeah,
but they were ready to just basically give him a bye. They were like, yo, 2-3 games, that's it, no problem.
Yeah, but Roger, what you're failing to remember, or not say failing to remember, but what you're forgetting is that it's because of the video came out. If we didn't see the video,
I know.
That's what I'm saying. You just would have got suspended.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He would have got like 2. At first, they came out with like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
and everybody was like, "There's backlash." Everybody's kind of complaining. But then when that video came out, it was like there was no hiding.
Yeah,
there was no hiding. And after that, they were like suspended for life. Like he's gone.
He was done, man.
Yeah.
He was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a tough pill, and the reason too, again, if he was averaging 5 yards a carry like he was a couple of years before, he might have just got suspended for a year.
Yeah,
that's true.
You know, as bad as that video was, like that's to tell you how much the NFL deals with production. Like if you're putting up the numbers, 5 yards a carry, they'll put up on a lot for 5 yards a carry.
They will.
That's true. Yeah, it's money. That's what it is. It all boils down to money. The more money they make, the greater chance they'll protect you.
Yeah,
that's basically how it works.
So if you're taking the PR hits and you're struggling on the field, like you've become like a huge zit that the team needs to get proactive for at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like it's as bad as it gets at this point, man. Like I don't know, man. He's just not looking like the guy that I liked in Houston, man. And it's almost like his stunt double is playing for him, and it's like the real Deshaun is like in an apartment somewhere tied up being chloroformed on a regular basis. Like that's what it's like right now. It's something out of a movie. Like he's somewhere in some apartment in Cincinnati just screaming. Not even in Cleveland, somewhere in Cincinnati just begging for his life. I don't know.
The Browns have no choice. They have to play him. They have to play him, and hope he turns around.
And that's the funny thing. They actually. I'm not sure if they traded Flacco or they released Flacco. Well, Flacco's gone.
It was a 1 year contract. It
was a 1 year contract. Yeah. Okay, so that was. So now I think he's with is he with the Colts or something?
Yeah, he's with the Colts.
I think it's with the Colts. Yeah, they literally have nobody behind them. Anyways, even if they wanted to sit him down, they can't.
Roger, what are you talking about? They got Jameis, bro. Jameis.
Oh, shit,
they do have Jameis.
Jameis Winston. I forgot about that. You're right.
They got Jameis. He's the exact 30 for 30. There you go. It's not just a documentary, my friends.
My bad. 30 for 30. Yes. That's right. Yeah. 30 tugs and 30 interceptions.
Yep. With the legendary crazy speeches and the interceptions, like he's ready to go, man. He fit right in. And what hurts them too is that injury with Nick Chubb too, because like there's like no I mean the running game is okay, but Nick Chubb, even when he comes back, he's not gonna be the same guy. At least not this year.
Not with that injury.
He might.
You think so? With that
He's
injury,
a freak. They just showed a video of him like benching like 800 pounds. The guy's a monster. Like guys like that, they're different, man. They're different.
Oh, man, that injury was horrible. Peterson. Like that injury. You guys saw the video of that injury though, right?
It was bad.
That was vicious. One of the most gruesome injuries I think I've ever seen. Like complete dislocation of his kneecap.
But we have
ACL, MCL.
We have history of running backs coming back from that. Remember Willis McGahee?
Yeah.
He tore up everything. He came back the next year. Like the surgery now and the technology.
It's a little different.
For me, it's like when you're a physical specimen, guys who like they just live in the gym, they recover and they come back strong because mentally they don't give in, right? They don't succumb. I'm not like, I bet you he could play right now if he want, but they're like no, like take 4 weeks, come back in 4 weeks, 6 weeks or whatever they put him on.
Put a brace on,
like,
and let's go.
Put a brace on him. Give him some pain pills, brace. Yeah.
Put a brace on him.
Oh yeah, no. You know what? He will come back. I don't know how effective he's going to be.
I hear you.
And I guess
hear you. It's a fear. It's a fear you have to have.
Yeah,
it is 100%.
It's funny. You're saying McGahee. I'm thinking like Frank Gore, because remember Frank Gore tore his knee twice, right? And he had a lengthy career. Adrian Peterson had the crazy MVP season like 8 months after he tore his ACL, right?
Yeah,
so you just don't know, but I feel like those guys are outliers. I don't think that's the norm though at the same time too, right? So
Nick Chubb is the dude that's squatting 1,000 pounds, man. Like
that's who he is. Yeah.
Yo, those videos.
The bar's bending.
That's what I was just about to say. The bar looks like it's about to snap off his traps, and he's still lifting it.
Just to even put that weight on your shoulders.
I know.
Yeah,
that's true too. That's true too. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see though. But like, this This Deshaun Watson, Brad, man, I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. Like, you know,
I'm still holding out hope.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I'm like, remember the Wayne Brady sketch where like Dave Chappelle is always rooting for the black actors? That's me with black quarterbacks. I'm always trying to give them a shot, Carrie. I'm always trying to give them a shot. I'm
with you, player. I'm with you, Cal. I want him to do well.
But man, these allegations, man. Geez, it's got to just get married. Like, just stop this. Just get married. Like, do something, man.
No,
like,
there's massage parlors out there that give you what you want. What's the problem?
It's not like he doesn't have the money to pay for it. That's what I don't understand.
Like, come on, y'all.
And therapy. And therapy. Get lots and lots of therapy. That's first and foremost. Get lots of therapy. Settle down.
Listen.
Get therapy. Just save your money, man. Like, come on. Like, jeez.
Dude,
he's got 230 mil guaranteed. He doesn't have to save money.
So true. And you don't pay a pro because you want sex. You pay them to shut up and go home after. He has the money. Pay the money, dude. Pay them. Like, seriously. You can get whatever you want. Whatever you want out there. It's a buffet, guy. Come on, man. Pay for it. I don't understand. It's like Robert Kraft going to a rub and tug. Like, you're a billionaire guy. What are you doing, man?
What are you doing exactly?
You go and pay $20 for a hand job, God forbid, and you're a flipping billionaire. Like, come on, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. These guys are just different. I don't know. They're different.
Yeah. Pray. You gotta pray for that, brother. That's all you gotta say at this point, man. Because, like I said, whether it's true or not, we don't know. Because this is an allegation or it's an accusation, so we don't know. You know what I mean? It could not be true as well, but we don't know.
Man, when there's smoke, there's fire, man. It's not like there's one or two. They're like we got 20, 22, 23 now.
No, 100%. But that's the part about when you're the boy that cries wolf, right? The one time that you could be telling the truth, ain't nobody gonna believe it, right? Because of the 22 other cases, right?
Yeah. It
is what it is, though. But like before we move on to our predictions for our underrated teams, like were you guys satisfied with the level of play with Week 1? Like overall, the
quarterback play was not the greatest, man.
No, I thought Week 1 was not great. Now I know there's some reasons for that, because I know like the preseason stuff isn't they're not practicing the same during training camp and stuff. And I think how much? Well, did they still play 4 preseason games, or was it now just 3?
No, it's scaled back to 3 now. They extended it by a season, so it's a 17-week season now.
That's right. So it's only 3.
And they cut into the preseason, yeah.
But I find the rhythm is off, though. You can see it in the game. It's off.
That's also offense usually takes longer.
Right.
To gel.
Yeah.
Defense is easier. Usually defense comes out faster than offense because it's more kind of react and just do your thing. And also, there's a lot of young quarterbacks in the league right now.
There is a lot
of young quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
So the first couple weeks, man, I mean, there's three or 4 rookies playing, and then there's 3 or 4 second-year guys playing. Like, it's going to take them a while to get into their groove.
Mm-hmm. That's true too.
Yeah.
But
I'm not worried so much. I think, eventually after a couple weeks, it'll open up. I mean, the rules are made for scoring, so it's going to happen.
Yeah. It'll reverse. Neither am I. Just for the record. I'm not concerned, but just the first week it was like I had it on red zone, so look, some weeks the red zone you're like, man, like these games are crazy, but like red zone it was like there was exciting moments, but it was like I felt like there was more hype on the excitement than the actual games that was happening. It's funny to me the defense, and I'll tell you what, man, this is gonna sound funny to say, the position I thought that was elite Week 1 from what I was seeing, at least on red zone, were the kickers. Some of these kickers were. I would say a lot of these kickers were kicking like 50 yards. Some of these guys were like looking like they can clear 60 yards easy. Like some of these kicks, I was like, holy cow! Like these guys are on point. And for me to be noticing a kicker, it's probably not saying a lot about the quality of play of week 1.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yo, red zone. Whoever came up with the idea for red zone is a genius.
Oh yeah, they're making money hand over fist. It is. It truly is. But just to touch upon what you guys are saying, like I always find the first week of the season it's always kind of like a hodgepodge. Like the offense is trying to find their way. They're trying to find that chemistry. They're trying to figure out what they can do and what they can't do. You know, how good is our O-line? How good can we run the ball? How good are our receivers? Like they don't really know what their team's, I want to say personality, but they don't really know what they do well is. Identity. They're trying to figure out their identity, right? Because there's players that leave, players that come in, they get new linemen, they get new running backs, new wide receivers. All these things take time for them to kind of figure out who they're going to be. Yeah, whereas with a defense, it's like Kerry says, it's instinctual. You know, they get on the field, they have one job, they know what their job is, and they do their job. Yeah. So it's going to take a few games, like probably by week 3, then we'll start seeing the high flying, high scoring, high flying games again, like what we're used to.
Yeah, defense is simple, man. It's like alignment, assignment, and then you fly around and you just tackle and hit, and it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Offense, there's a lot more nuance, I would say, and especially you're going up against a team that you haven't gone up against or a scheme that you haven't seen. It's the first week, so like defense you might watch all of their last year film, and then they're going to come out and do some different stuff because it's week 1. They had 4 weeks to prepare for you.
Yep.
That's true.
That's
very true.
Once the offenses start to get film on the defense, start to input all their plays and start to get the tendencies, then you're gonna see it's gonna take off. Offense will take off.
It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference once they get some film on a lot of these quarterbacks on a lot of these teams. Then they're gonna know what they do well, what they don't do well, and then you'll definitely see a difference for sure. But yeah, a little slow, but it's gonna pick up for sure.
Well, I'll ask you guys, too, just in light of, because I'm looking at some of these scores. If you're strapped to a chair right now and you're forced to watch a team play all year, would it be the Giants or would it be the Panthers?
Oh, man.
Because, man, that was awful. That was, that was awful. I have Devin Singletary on my fantasy team. Thank God I won week 1 of my fantasy league. I know I hate to bring up fantasy in the podcast, but, I started Devin Singletary, and about maybe partway through the second quarter, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is the worst mistake. I thought for sure I was gonna lose this on that alone, because I was like, what the hell was I thinking? I actually thought this was actually a good idea. I watched maybe 5 minutes of the game, and I'm just like, what the hell was I thinking? This is such a terrible decision.
There's a few teams that I do not draft players from, and the Giants are definitely one of them.
Daniel Jones is
horrible,
awful, man.
He's just so bad. He's just so bad.
And I'm an Eagles fan, so I was glad when they gave him all that money.
And they gave you guys Barkley.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was
so much.
That was a Christmas present wrapped up. Honestly.
I was shocked because the Eagles don't pay running backs, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's Saquon, so you kind of have to, right? If you're going to do it.
It was worth it. Yeah, 15 mil, I'll take that all day.
I was going to say, if you're going to do it for Saquon. If you're going to pay money to a quarterback, let it be same thing with San Fran last year, right? 2022, we gave up picks and all that stuff for McCaffrey, but it's McCaffrey. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, at least do it for the best or top 2 or 3 or something. You know what I mean? Make it worthwhile, right? But
listen, I'm actually convinced that the Giants are trying to tank this season. I really am.
You trade away the case.
You trade away your best player, your whole offense. You basically traded him away, and then you lay all your hopes and dreams on a quarterback that hasn't been able to produce for the past 2-3 years, and you're expecting you're expecting to win though. Like I know they picked up Malik Neighbors and he's a baller, 100%. But Daniel Jones is just so bad.
I was
Like,
going to say, what does that matter if he can't get the ball?
Exactly.
They
should have drafted a quarterback. That's what they should have done.
I agree, 100%. But I think they're probably going to draft one this year. If they keep this up, top 3 pick easily. Daniel Jones is just that bad. He's that bad.
When your matchup gets dominated by Sam Darnold, you know you've done some wrong shit.
Gotta question your choices in life.
Yeah, very very much so. And also, can the coaching staff fire the owner? Because when we go back to that story with when I don't know if I think we talked about this last year or the last season where there was that clip of C.J. Stroud and the quarterbacks coach. I think it was it Luke McCown or Josh McCown?
Josh McCown.
Yeah, Josh McCown. And they're having a conversation before he got drafted about like where they play in Charlotte, like pickup basketball on outdoor courts, and he's like, yeah. So when you come, he's like, yeah, come. We play on Wednesdays, such and such and such. So they were like, they all thought they were getting Stroud. And man, Bryce Young. I mean, again, I'm rooting for my black QBs, man. But man, he looked terrible. He has not looked good. Like this is a continuing trend. Like it's one thing you're a rookie. That's why I wasn't really on him. But again, it's week 1, so you want to give him some grace. But man, that did not lead. He looked just as bad as he did last year. It looked like nothing changed.
It's a tough situation, man. It's a tough situation. I definitely thought Stroud was the better quarterback coming out, and just with the stature, everything. Like he's the prototype.
Yeah.
But you can't deny what Bryce Young did in college at Alabama. It's not like he was at a little school or something. Yeah. But man, I mean, and it's tough. They traded away DJ Moore, the best receiver on the team, to move up to get the guy. Yeah. So it's like you're put in a bad situation. You don't have a go-to receiver. Offensive line is
Yeah. The running back, like your stud, your number one running back he himself is coming off a knee injury, and has he even played yet? I don't even think he's a rookie, right? Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah. He tore ACL last year. He hasn't played. Well, I don't think he's practiced yet. He's still on IR right now.
I'm rooting for my boy Chuba Hubbard, man. Shout out to E-Town, Canadian boy. I want him to tote the rock. He's a good running back, but man, they don't have a lot going on over there.
No,
they really don't. They really don't. And they're really, really bad, man. I actually feel sorry. I feel bad for him. I do feel bad for the coach because I feel like they put him in a situation where it was a no-win situation. And this year, they need, especially rookie quarterbacks.
Yes.
They need the pieces around them. They need a O-line. They need a solid running game, at least until they really find their footing.
Right.
And he's just never had that. Like he hasn't had a chance.
No.
Has that a chance?
And he's a little MAGA youth.
That doesn't help neither. Yeah.
Like he's tiny, man. He's like 5'10", 5'11", maybe.
And he's not
190.
He's not a thick dude. He's not like a Russell Wilson, at least.
No,
at least Russell Wilson's prime, right?
Exactly. Like he's small, man. He's small. It's tough to play quarterback at that stature, especially if you're not protected or you don't have a go-to guy where you could just be like, I'm gonna throw it over to my dude over there.
Yeah,
it's tough.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a tough situation, but you're right though. To your point, like there's an influx of young running quarterbacks, and it's gonna take time for all of these guys. Because I watch a bit of Jaden Daniels. And
I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan too.
He's good. It's gonna take him some time too, but because he wasn't totally accurate, but like the guy can get a first down with those legs, right? So
exactly. At least he can survive.
Yeah, at least for the time being, it could work out. Like even same thing with Anthony Richardson, which I'll get to in a moment. But there's a lot of young guys coming through the pipeline right now, so it's gonna take some time. But some of these games aren't gonna look great at the same time. You know what I mean?
Anthony Richardson, the way he throws the ball, it's like, wow. Like, he has all the tools. I don't know if he's developed enough to, like, really take him far, but man, you see him throw a ball, like, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
he threw what? The touchdown he threw last weekend
It's
was
crazy.
Yeah.
That's like 7 yards in
And
the
he,
air, man.
and he tripped. Remember, he tripped.
Off
He
his back
slipped.
foot, he tripped, got up, and he just literally just chucked it up like 60, 70 yards.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like, all arm. No body, just all arm.
Yeah, that's all arm. Exactly.
He's insane. But he's also a monster, too. The guy's like 6'6". Like, he's a big dude.
He's a big
Like,
dude.
he's
Yeah,
a
he is.
big guy.
He is.
He's a big dude.
So, he's a big dude, man.
Yo, so before we wrap this up, man, I guess we'll get to we'll get to our underrated predictions our underrated teams of that we have going forward for this season. It doesn't have to be any particular order, but just want to list them as they go. I like I said, I had 5. I had to remove the Browns. Like, after that Sunday performance, I just removed them, and I struggled to find a replacement. So I know I said 5. So maybe you guys can start off with your 2 first. Oh, sorry, with one of your guys first, and then I'll come in on the back end.
So we're going to start with number 1 first, and then work our way down? Or start with number 5 and work our way up?
It doesn't have to be in a particular order, but just like who do you guys have? So you can start with you, Raj. Like who's your who's one of your 5?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man.
Okay, damn it, that was mine. So now I'm down to 3. Fucker, go on.
Yeah, I am so impressed by this team. I really am. I really thought, like, after Brady left, they would literally crumble. But then last year they played impressively well.
They did.
Like, Baker Mayfield, he played really, really good.
Yeah, he did.
And then watching him, like, they made it pretty far into the playoffs. And then watching him on Sunday, I think out of all the quarterbacks, he literally played the best. He had like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, him and Mike Evans have a connection.
Mike Evans have a connection. Like, honestly, it's just incredible to watch. And overall, I feel like the team is just solid defense. They don't make mistakes, and I'm shocked to even say this because I've never been a Baker Mayfield fan, but just a solid team, man. And nobody's talking about them. I don't feel like they're getting any hype whatsoever. Everybody's talking about San Francisco, Baltimore, obviously Kansas City.
And you expect that, though. That you expect, yeah. You expect those teams.
Yeah, but nobody's talking about the Bucs. Nobody's talking about them. So that's my number 1.
I had them on my list too, and I actually didn't. I remember I was talking to you about this over the weekend. I didn't understand the dismissal. Forget of like the conference or the rest of the league. They weren't even picked to win their division. Like, their division is shit, and they weren't even picked. Like most prognosticators didn't even have them winning the division. Everybody was choosing Atlanta, and I'm like, am I missing something? I'm like, yo,
yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, yep. I'm like, as far as I know, they brought back pretty much the same team they had last year, and they came this close to beating Detroit and playing San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. They got more depth at running back, and they secured Baker Mayfield on a team-friendly deal, so they can go get more people.
He's very team-friendly. Yep.
Yeah, he's in year 2 of a system that's working for him, and like, and I think obviously, as you guys know, that's going to grow his level of like comfortability and security within the offense. And then you got Mike Evans, who was like an All-Pro last year. You know what I mean?
I mean, that dude is a machine.
Now. Yeah, he's a machine.
He's a machine.
Timeless. He's timeless. Like, honestly, man, what is it, like six seasons now? I think he's on his 6th season, 1,000 yards.
I think
he's never had less than 1,000 yards.
Man. Yeah, every year he's been in
it's
the league.
Insane.
Yeah, 10th year in a row.
10th year, 1,000 seasons every single season. Like,
first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, it's crazy.
But I'm like you, Raj. Like, I basically had to like reverse pivot on Baker Mayfield because when he came into the league, the way he used to carry himself, like I just didn't like him, man. He was very cocky. He kind of reminded me of those like the Duke basketball players. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you just want to hate him. You know what I mean? Yep. And I'm saying this as somebody who liked him coming out of college. Like, I don't even watch that much college football anymore, but him coming out of college, I think, where did he go, to Oklahoma? Was it Oklahoma he came from?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it was Oklahoma.
Yeah, he won the Heisman. I liked him. I actually liked him. You know what I mean? Coming out of college,
he was super accurate too.
Yeah, but I just found like he had a bravado about him where you're like, man, this guy's talking about himself like he's that guy, and it's like you're not really that guy. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, there's a reason why the Browns they pivot themselves, right? There's a reason why they tried to go for Deshaun. It wasn't because like he was balling and they decided just to you know what I mean, just to make a funny move. Like,
yeah, but I mean, his rookie year, he had one of the better rookie years of a rookie quarterback in a long time. But he had 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 years. Like, I mean, I don't care who you are.
It plays a part.
You're going to struggle.
Yeah.
You're going to struggle. Man, have you seen these offensive playbooks? They're like phone books. You know, like the old school phone books? I know there's no phone books anymore, but I'm dating myself.
Like the Bible.
I remember.
Oh, yeah. It's insane.
Like, you got to learn you got to learn one of those every year.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
It's tough, but like I said, I'm like you though. Like when you look at him in Tampa Bay now, like I saw this the other day in terms of passing, not the full game, but in terms of passing, he put up similar stats to Lamar Jackson last year, but not including the rushing, but just the passing, yeah. And I was like, damn, like shit, that's actually pretty good. You know what I mean? But I mean, if my memory serves me correctly, they lost to Detroit by 1.
Yeah, it was a close game.
They were right there, right? I missed the game, but they were right there.
Yeah, it was one interception, one bad pass that basically cost them that game.
Yeah,
like they were driving the field and Baker threw a pick, and it was a one bad pass under pressure. Before that, he played a flawless game. It was just one bad pass away from possibly going and playing Detroit. Like he played that well. So I mean, just so underrated, so underrated.
But Carrie, who's your one of your picks?
One of my picks are the Seahawks.
Okay.
You get Mike McDonald, the DC for Baltimore, coming over as the head coach. I think his defensive scheme is fantastic. You got Geno Smith throwing to Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. They got Kenneth Walker at running back. And then they have, I think, one of the better cornerback duos in the league with Devon Witherspoon and Reek Woolen. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to make some noise.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, I'm predisposed to hate them because I'm a Niners guy, so I'm predisposed to not
I
like
feel
them,
you.
right? So
I feel you.
I love Kenneth Walker, man. I think he's a baller. I think he's going to have a big year this year, man.
Yeah, man. And as long as Geno Smith does what he did last year, and I think the defense will be better under this new head coach. And they have weapons, man. They have three receivers who are number ones, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're going to be a problem.
Metcalf just has to keep his temper in check because sometimes he takes them out of games for doing stripping.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
But they're in a tough division too. So,
well, I guess I'll give you one of my selections. Tampa was one. I might be crazy for saying this, but I know Roger might blow a gasket here. But I'm gonna say the New York Jets.
Oh Lord. Here we go. New York. You mean the Super Bowl, the presumptive Super Bowl champion New York Jets?
Well,
because everybody's been saying that they're that good this year.
Yeah, see, I'm not going. I'm considering them more underrated because I mean, when I look at some of the prognosticators, like, yeah, you've seen those picks, but you've seen them not making the playoffs either, right? Like you have people picking Buffalo, which kind of surprised me a little bit, but. They had people have Buffalo. They didn't even have Miami. Like they have a Miami ahead of them, and to me, at the end of the day, and I think I was talking to you about this on Sunday too. It all comes down to Rodgers, right? Like, is Rodgers playing at the MVP level that he was 2 years ago? No, and he's coming off a torn Achilles and all that stuff. Even
at
though he was
40,
yeah, he was moving around good on pretty good on Monday night or whatever, right? Pretty good. Pretty good. I didn't say he was moving amazing, Roger. I said pretty good.
I saw 3 classic Rogers throws. That's what I saw, and then the rest of them, I was like, he looked like somebody that wasn't 100% comfortable with his Achilles.
Or the
So,
team. Yeah.
like he just didn't look confident out there. I mean, he threw some very nice passes. Like I said, 3 really really nice like bullets. But aside from that, I don't know, man. I just wasn't exactly.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick because you have a good quarterback.
On paper.
They're supposedly supposed to have a good running game.
Yeah.
They have some weapons, and their defense was top 5 last year. But that defense got shredded like cheddar cheese. Oh my goodness!
By the Niners.
By an undrafted freaking running back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, Sauce got trucked. I don't know if you guys saw that.
You did.
I feel bad for him, man.
Sauce is the best corner in the league.
He is, but Debo, Debo's a truck, man. You don't stand in front of Debo. Yeah, Sauce had to take a few plays off after he took that hit. But I mean,
none of those, any of those guys catch a ball on him though. Like,
but the funny thing, thing is though with the Niners is, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even prior to when CMC got there, they had one of the best run schemes in the league. The run game was not the problem for the Niners. Like that's why when we got McCaffrey, I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like we're getting McCaffrey? Like really? It's like getting a Lambo on the 401 with no cops. You know what I mean? At this point, like you're giving us that really? Like are you serious? Like that's how I felt.
Pushing red lines.
Yeah, but I'm like, but we did. I don't think running back was the issue. Like Jimmy G was more the issue than the run game, right?
100%. But you can put an average running back in that scheme and he'll be great. But if you put McCaffrey in there,
oh my God,
yeah.
Exactly.
Hall of Fame.
Man, if he would have played on Monday, he would have had over 200 yards rushing and probably 80 yards receiving.
But that's why I wasn't that surprised with how Mason performed, because I'm like, the last few years, everybody they plug and play has done well, from Elijah Mitchell all the way down. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like you just plug and play, and these guys work out every single time. But having CMC is the issue. So I'm like, I wasn't really knocking the Jets for game 1, because I'm like, the Niners are like, they're a Super Bowl contending team still, right? I don't know if the Jets are there yet.
But you know what happened though? What happened was Robert Saleh used to be the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Yep. Kyle Shanahan knows that dude's scheme inside out. He knows all the rules. Yep. He knows all the scheme. Like they outcoached the Jets. I believe the Jets defense is gonna, they're going to turn up and they're going to be better.
Yeah.
That was just a case of because if an offensive coordinator knows what your defensive scheme, the rules are,
they're going to shred you apart.
You're done, because as a defense coordinator, you teach your players, okay, on this play, these are your rules. So if you see this, you see A, you do this. You see B, you do this. Well, if Kyle Shanahan knows I'm going to show you A, but we're going to do B. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
They got out-schemed. They had no chance in that game.
Yeah.
But it's scary to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, without a doubt. But like, to me, like I said, the reputation of the Jets, they kind of bring it on themselves, right? Because they've just been they're like the Browns. They've been so unlucky the last, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 decades. Right, like, it's like I get it, but I'm looking at their schedule too. The next 4 games, they're at the Titans, they're playing the Pats, they're playing the Broncos, and they're playing the Vikings. So that's Will Levis.
They could get right back.
Yeah, that's Will Levis, Brissett, friggin' Bo Nix, and Sam Darnold. Like they could be 4-1 and getting into a rhythm heading into the tougher part of the schedule. So that's
true.
I'm like,
it's true.
I don't think it's a bad pick, Roger.
and then that, like, you trade for Hassan Reddick and you don't pay him. What y'all doing? Man?
I know that.
What are you doing?
Thank you, Kerry. And that was another point I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Are they really unlucky, or are they just do they just suffer from bad management?
They make stupid decisions.
Stupid decisions. every single year. Hassan is a perfect example of that. You pick up a stud, and you know that the reason why you got him is because he wanted a new contract.
Yeah.
So you go and you trade for him,
Yep.
and you still decide you're not going to pay him?
As an Eagles fan, I'm upset. Give him his money. Give him his money.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And they're sitting back and they're finding him like $800,000 a game.
It's crazy.
And it's like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, what the hell are you thinking? But every year it's something with them. I honestly feel like, Calvin, like on paper, I agree with you. On paper, they could potentially make it to the Super Bowl. 100%. Yes. I feel like that. But because they're the Jets, no. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to get injured within the next 7 games. God forbid. And they're going to go back to being exactly what they were last year.
Bro, they're the basketball equivalent of the Clippers.
They really are. I agree. 100%.
Bro,
who the hell is
are.
Kawhi? Who's Kawhi?
Yeah,
but no, I don't disagree with any of that stuff in terms of that. But to me, I'm like, I'm not going by people having them as Super Bowl contenders. I'm like, I don't know about that, but I don't think they're also like gonna miss the playoffs either. I'm kind of surprised where I was seeing some of these picks like going into week 1. I was like, in terms of like,
but they're in a tough division.
That too.
Yeah.
They are. They're going to have to stack wins because Miami and Buffalo.
Yeah, they got to pay them 4 times.
Hey, guys, don't sleep on my New England Patriots. I'm just saying. Did you see that first game? They actually played pretty damn well, which was shocking to me.
Well, listen, I'm sleeping. You wake me up when they actually do something.
Yep. You know what? Yep. You and I will have this conversation. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but compared to where, like, it's gone to the point where sports, like these sports shows, they don't even talk about them. Like, they don't even, it's not even a possibility that they could possibly even get anywhere close to 500. And I'm not saying that they're going to be in the playoffs, but what I am saying is that they look very disciplined. Their defense looks young. They're fast.
No, the defense is good. The defense is good.
The defense looks solid.
Yeah.
Like, they were blitzing, they look solid, and the run game looks pretty damn good. As long as they don't sustain any injuries, I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I'm saying that they're going to surprise some teams. They're definitely going to surprise some teams.
When does the rookie play? Or does he not play at all?
I think after 5, maybe 6 games. That's what I think. Yeah, I think they have to. They're going to go through a tough stretch. Like, they play San Francisco, they play some of the tougher teams, and then after that, I think they play the Jags. And so I think like around week 6, week 7, because they have a really late bye. Like, their bye is like somewhere like 14, I think, like 13, 14, like something ridiculous like that. But I think he's eventually going to play. But they look better than what they expected. Like, that was actually one of my underrated teams. And the reason why I was going to say they're so underrated is because nobody expects them to do anything. Yeah, if they win 5 games, I think like 5-6 games would probably be a win in a lot of people's eyes. Yeah. But I honestly feel like they could, I think they could win like 7, maybe 8 games. I think they could. I think. Well,
I'm rooting for Mayo because I loved him as a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was great too. Yeah. And they kind of remind me of the old New England Patriots. I mean, very strong run game, great defense. Obviously, they don't have Brady, but I mean, they do have a quarterback right now that doesn't make too many mistakes. And I think once the young guy gets inside there, I think they're going to be okay. I give them about 2-3 years before they'll be able to actually compete again, but I like what I saw. Let's just say that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I hear you. I know Carrie said he's sleeping on them. I took melatonin watching the game, so I just want you
to know. Listen, the way Boston media was tearing these, like, I'm a New England fan.
Yeah.
The way Boston media was tearing into this flipping team during the preseason, oh my God! You would think at one point they were saying they weren't even going to win 1 game. That's what they were saying. Like, they felt like they were that horrible. And then when they came out and they played the way they did, It's like all of a sudden everybody's changing their tune, but nobody's getting too excited because it's only one game. But there's actually hope now, and that's the big difference. There's hope.
Yeah, no, we'll revisit this one for sure. Who's your selection, Carrie? Your next selection.
I had the Chargers.
Yeah, everybody has the Chargers, man. Like I've seen that too. I'm kind of surprised, but educate me on why.
I'm a huge fan. Listen, Jim Harbaugh is old school. Everywhere he goes, he wins. He brings that. It's all about physicality and running the ball and playing defense. And I know it's boring in this day and age, but that formula wins. Their first draft pick, they had a top 10 draft pick, and everybody's like, "Oh, they need receivers," and he drafted an O lineman. So I think, and they had J.K. Dobbins look great.
Yeah, he looked good.
Herbert's an elite quarterback.
Yep.
They got Joe Alt. They got Rashawn Slater, 2 bookend tackles. They got a Canadian boy. I gotta give a shout out to Joshua Palmer. Yeah. I think he's gonna have a great year this year. On defense, they have Bosa, they have Max, so they have pass rushers, and they got Derwin James in the back end. I mean, they have pieces. We'll see if they put it together. I'm usually hard on the Chargers because I think I think in the past they were all flash, no substance.
Yeah.
But I think Harbaugh brings the substance because it's the mentality. It's we're going to be physical. We're going to run the ball. We're going to grind teams out. And I think that goes a long way in football. Even though they're trying to spread it out and throw the ball, there's always going to be a place for that type of football. Smash mouth football. Like, that's what it is. What, J.K. Dobbins had, 12 carries, 150 yards or something crazy?
Yeah.
He played great.
I think that pickup of Joe Alt I think that was actually a really good pick. Did you see him against Max Crosby?
Yeah, man.
That dude was losing his shit. Like, he could not get past Joe Alt. I think he had, one pressure the whole game with 0 sacks. And Max Crosby is he's insane. He's one of the best pass rushers in the game.
I think he had one sack, but it was like he ran a stunt. So it's like he didn't beat Joe Alt. He ran an inside stunt or something crazy.
Yeah, he stunted. Yeah. But Joe Alt he was amazing. I think that's a good pick. I like the fact that they've kind of transitioned to more of a running team in opposed to a flashy passing team. I'll be honest with you. I thought they were stupid as hell when they gave away basically their whole wide receiver room. Like Keenan Allen had an excellent year last year, and they basically traded him away for peanuts.
Yeah.
Mike Williams always injured, but still they kind of traded him away.
It was a salary cap. They had to. They had no choice.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Because Keenan was making close to 30. Williams was always hurt. He was there. He was going to need a re-up. I mean, I hear you. But I mean, to me, we're in a day and age where rookie receivers come in and they can contribute right away. It's easier to replace a receiver than an offensive lineman or a pass rusher, something like that.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree completely. Yeah, 100%. And I feel like they've changed the makeup of the team, and I feel that they're going to be more successful this way. I mean, how many times within the past 3 years, Calvin, have we watched the games and watched them lose by field goals or by the smallest margins, and they're like, what the hell? They always seem to choke.
Yep, they always lose
on the last flipping drive. Always. It was like they get to a point every year. People are saying, you know what? I believe in the Chargers. I believe in the Chargers. And then every year they would let us down over and over again. This year, I feel like they do have more substance to them. And I don't care what anybody says. Running teams, if you could run the ball in the playoffs when it starts getting cold,
and you always have a chance.
You always have a chance. You always have a chance. 100%.
I have two left, and these are more wild cards, I should say, more than anything else. My next selection I have is I'm more rooting for the potential than anything else, especially with this one player. I'm gonna go with the Colts. I'm gonna go with the Colts because of the weapons that they have. You know what I mean? And I want to see a black quarterback do well. And Richardson has a ton of potential, but he's got to get better
tools, man.
Yeah, he's got the tools. He just has to get better at the accuracy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In an era to me where like quarterbacks are like super accurate, but I think it's mostly because they only throw the balls like 7 yards down the field all the time. Like I think the completion rate is where it is for him right now. It's shaky, and he's got to figure that out. But they got a solid O-line. They got weapons. They got they got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. They got a solid defense. Like I think if he can just kind of clean that up a bit, man, they can make some moves. But so it's more potential than anything else. You know what I mean?
I had them on my list and I scratched them out last minute.
Okay.
But okay. I totally see that for sure.
Okay. So what about you? What's your selection?
Another team I got is the Rams.
Yeah, I'm predisposed to hate them too. But
just Matt Stafford is an elite quarterback. Kyron Williams is a beast at running back.
Yeah.
I know Puka Nacua, I think that's how he says it. Who had a crazy year last year. He's hurt now, but I mean, you pair him and Cooper Kupp in that offensive system, I just think they're always going to have a chance.
Man, Cooper Kupp,
and I know
tough,
they lost.
Man.
I know they lost Aaron Donald, but they always find a way to coach up these draft picks, defensive draft picks that they get to at least be serviceable. Like they gave Detroit a run for their money without Puka Nacua. He got he left the game. They probably should have won that game. I just think they're going to make noise. They're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out, man. I'm a Sean McVay fan. I just think schematically he gives a lot of teams problems, and those receivers are studs.
I agree. I feel like they have, if not one of the best, at least top 5 best receiver group, 100%.
Yeah.
And I feel like last year they came out of nowhere. Because last year watching the Rams, I knew they were going to be okay. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they were. Yeah. And Puka Nacua came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like this guy just balled right out of the gate. Cooper Kupp was injured for most of the year last year, and he was battling injuries basically the whole year. And then Kyron Williams was incredible. Like he was so good that after I think was it 2 or 3 games, they literally kicked Akers right off the team.
Yeah,
they released him, and they're like, they were like bounce. And they made it all the way to the playoffs, and they were really solid in the playoffs. So I mean, yeah, another team that's underrated because nobody's talking about them, and they have so much potential, so much potential.
Yeah, I won't necessarily disagree with that, even though I'm predisposed. But I won't necessarily. I wouldn't disagree with that. They got some pieces. Like I said, Cooper Kupp, man, that guy's solid, man. What he did to us 2 years ago on their way to winning the Super Bowl, like for a wide receiver, that's one of the best seasons for a receiver ever, right? I got to give credit where credit's due. Like he's incredible. You know what I mean?
He was a top 3 receiver before he got hurt.
Yeah,
he was.
I would say at least top 5.
Would you say he's the best route runner in the game?
Oh, I don't know if I go that far.
But man,
I don't
tough,
think
man.
It's the route running. Like his routes are pretty good. It's his contact balance and his hands.
Yeah.
The dude doesn't drop balls, man. The thing about that scheme, how they like condensed formations, like the receivers are so close to the offensive line.
Yeah.
And they contribute to the running game so much. They crack ends, they block linebackers.
They do. Yeah.
The toughness to block an end and then go. So as a defense, as a linebacker, as a DN, you're worried about this guy cracking you or blocking you, and then he's gone running a route. Like it puts you in a bind. It's really tough. I don't know, the best route runner. That's tough, man, because I would have Adams up there.
Yeah, I feel sorry for that guy.
Yeah, man, he's in like purgatory right now.
Jeez.
He really is. He's on an island.
Hey, at least there's no state tax in Nevada. At least there's that.
Your quarterback's Gardner Minshew?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Talk about being misled, though, right?
Take a shot.
You think you're gonna be playing with your college quarterback?
Yeah, they did him dirty, man.
They did.
Oh,
they did him dirty.
Oh my God.
They really did.
Yeah.
I think if he knew that was going to happen, he would have stayed in Green Bay.
Exactly.
100%. And he would have been balling right now.
Of course.
Him and Love? Oh, he would have been balling.
Of course.
He would have been balling.
Who's your selection, Raj? I know you guys have technically two more left.
Well, to be honest with you, you guys have covered all of them. Like, the Rams were one for me. Okay. Obviously, I went through the Patriots.
Yeah.
Tampa,
we went through Tampa
we've
already.
pretty much covered everybody. I mean, we discussed Tampa already. Like, I'd say Cleveland still. Just because Cleveland is one of those teams where it's like, before I saw the game, I would have said they're making the playoffs this year for sure.
Yes.
You know, their defense, I mean, their offense looked so solid last year. And then just watching Deshaun Watson, he was just so bad. And I don't know, maybe he'll improve.
And
maybe there'll be a better team under Winston. Yeah. Like, I don't know. But I just feel like that team just has so many good players, and their defense is just, well, they were really good until I saw them got destroyed last week. But they just have so many good players. And I don't know.
They do. I'm gonna run down some of them. They traded for Jerry Jeudy. They have Amari Cooper. They have Njoku at tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, and an offensive line, a top 10 offensive line. And then if they get Chubb back mid-season, and then you look at their defense, they got Myles Garrett. They got Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa, Denzel Ward. I mean, they have talent.
Yeah,
but if Watson doesn't get his stuff together,
they're not going anywhere.
None of it's going to matter.
No, it all starts and ends with Watson, basically. And I don't know, he just looked like a shell of himself. He looked like a 40-year-old quarterback. He looked like a guy that's been through some wars, had injuries, and just, you know, he's lost his nerve. His mind isn't there. And maybe it's a money thing, too. Like, I mean, he's made so much money over the past 4 or 5 years that maybe his head's just doing nothing, man. Like, basically chilling. You know, maybe it's like, what the hell am I taking these hard hits for? It's kind of like a situation where you know, some players after they get paid, they're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be as aggressive. I don't want to get hurt.
They take their foot.
I want to make sure I don't get concussions, things along those lines. I almost feel that's kind of part of it, aside from obviously, you know, the injuries and so on. Yeah, but I just feel like his mind, it's not there anymore. It's just he's just there to get paid.
And the accusations.
Yeah,
that too. Yeah, that 100% too. Yeah,
it's got to weigh on you, man. Yeah. Jeez,
100%.
Well, I still scratch them off the list. I think between the way they looked, and I know again it's week 1, but that extra allegation, I'm kind of just like, I'm kind of putting them on the honor, like on the honorable mention. And then the other team I have on the honorable mention is Arizona, and I just, you know what? I want to like Kyler Murray. I do. I really do. But I just don't fully trust him, man. And, you know, and the reason why I think I have him on honorable mention is because I liked how they looked on Sunday against Buffalo until, of course, you know, Buffalo came back and beat them. But the way they're going through the Buffalo's defense in the first half, I was like, damn. I'm like, yo, I was like, shit. They kind of look pretty good. But there's something about Murray that it's
his temperament. His temperament, man. I have an issue with his temperament.
Yeah, it's just something about him. Like there's the potential's there, but it's just something about him that I'm not crazy about. And then that statement he makes about I don't know if you guys saw it about, you know,
Junior.
Yeah, that he doesn't control, like, you know, when or how Harrison's going to get the ball. And I'm like, okay, whether that's true or not, you've been in the league long enough that you can't make statements like that.
Exactly.
You don't say that. You don't
Like that was
say
ridiculous.
that.
When
You
I
don't
saw
say
that, I
that.
was just like, this is the other reason again. Like this is why people have had their issues with Murray, right?
I think with Murray, there's just no leadership. That's what the
Yeah.
problem is.
Yes, that's the
There's like
word I
zero
was going to
leadership.
use. It's the leadership.
Yeah, he doesn't own it. He doesn't, he
That's
doesn't say,
it.
what,
It's
this
your
is my
team.
issue, or Marvin Harrison, we got to give him the ball more, or we need to get him involved. Like instead, he's like, well, it's not my problem. Like, even though I understand one of his passes literally bounced off Marvin Harrison's Jr.'s hands, which is fair. But there was a few times when this guy was wide open. Like I saw one where he was wide open for a touchdown, and it's like, dude, like own something. Like say something that proves that you're a leader.
Yeah, you said it. You take some ownership.
Exactly.
All you have to say is, yeah, man, I have to do a better job of getting in the ball. We need to get the ball in the playmaker's hands. It's very simple.
Yeah.
But it's like he never wants to take responsibility for anything.
And he's not a rookie, so he can't hide behind, oh, this guy's new, or he doesn't understand. Like he's been in the league for long enough to know better.
Yeah. That's it right there. Like it's like you've been in the league long enough to that you can't make statements like that. Like you got to know that. Come on, like you got to at some point done some sort of media training within the last 5, 6, 7 years that you've been in the league, and I'm not even including college, where I'm sure you got some media training there too. Like it's like there's ways to go about this stuff, and to me, I'm like that's just not a statement you make, especially for the stud wide receiver who hey, it's the first game, maybe he was nervous. I mean that's quite possible, right? All this pressure, you got the last name on your back, like. Yeah, as much of as a stud, it's a lot of pressure, right? Like everybody's expecting this guy to be like the next Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it may happen. It's week one. It may happen still, right? He may have a phenomenal rookie year, but it's like you just don't make those comments, man. Like, but that's to me what Arizona was like. If he can keep his ego in check, in terms of just kind of fix himself a little bit, like I think they can go places. But I don't know. I'm not predisposed to hating Arizona because Arizona just they haven't consistently been good the entire time. You know what I mean?
And how good is James Conner though? Like seriously.
I know.
Every year, like just consistent. And I know he gets banged up. Like he's obviously an order running back at this point. And yes, he does get banged up and he misses some games. But man, this guy still runs hard.
Back. Yeah, he does.
Solid, man.
He runs hard, man. Like seriously. Like that's what shocks me, and I don't know. Like they need that running game. I'm not a Kyler Murray hater, but I just don't like the lack of leadership. Yeah, I don't like the lack of leadership. Like I don't like that. I really don't like that. And I think he's a decent quarterback. Like I think he could be a good quarterback. But I mean the fact that he doesn't lead his team, and it doesn't seem like his teammates have anything really positive to say about him neither.
No.
So I don't know. Kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I definitely didn't like those comments. I didn't show very much leadership.
Nah, it's wild to me, man. But I know we're gonna wrap up right now. But what I'll say is, if you guys are cool with this, every quarter I'd like to kind of bring you guys back and we kind of reassess where the season is, and then we get closer to the playoffs, then we can kind of do it every week if you guys are cool with that.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. I'm in 100%. Okay. I had one more team, though. Let me
sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I had the Bears.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out.
Okay.
Caleb Williams, I think he's the real deal, but he's a rookie. It's going to take him some time. Yeah. But they got him weapons. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. Last year, when they traded for Montez Sweat, I thought it changed their defense. It gave them a pass rusher, and they got some linebackers, some corners. I think they're going to make a push. I think they're threaten the Packers, especially now that Jordan Love is hurt.
Yeah.
They play really good defense. I think Caleb, after 3-4 weeks, he'll get into a groove, and he'll start figuring it out. So I think they'll make a push.
Yeah, I can see that. I know he didn't play well this first game, but again, rookie, right? Like, it's going to take time.
And he won. He won the game, man. Yeah. You got to win. Even if you win ugly, it's still a win.
Still a win. You'll take it. He'll
That's
take
true.
it.
I like them. I like Chicago, and I do like Caleb Williams. I see him like just some of the skills and some of the throws he makes. He does remind me a lot of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, man, he does some crazy stuff.
Yeah, he can make everything.
The arm talent is crazy.
The arm talent is insane.
Yeah.
Like just off the cuff plays when things break down. Like he has the potential to be really good. I didn't think he was going to be really good at the beginning of the season because he's a flipping rookie, and I mean, the game is fast. When you're going from preseason where you're seeing vanilla defenses all of a sudden to the actual games where they're actually scheming and and they're masking their different defensive schemes, it's different, and that's why rookies, I mean, they tend not to succeed when they first start off. I mean, there's a reason for that. Yeah. But I do think that by the end of the season, he's going to figure it out. At some point, the light's going to go on, and he's going to be like, okay, and he will be successful. He has all the tools, and they did a great job putting the team together. Like that offense could be they can literally be like a top 5, top 10 offense.
Yeah, they can.
Really, like I said, I didn't see him play in college. I just saw some of the highlights, but I know everybody keeps saying the same thing that you guys are saying. So I'm not gonna sit there and act like I know him like that well. You know what I mean? But just from seeing some of the highlights, I'm like, yeah, like he looks like he is good. But everybody's talking about him like, yo, this is like the next one. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. But I mean, he's on line to be like, if everything goes well, he'll by far be the best QB that the Bears have ever had, which isn't saying a lot because their best QB was probably Jim McMahon.
That's not saying a lot.
It was probably Jim McMahon. So the standard isn't high. Like, you know what I mean? This is the low hanging fruit that you can grab off the branch. You know what I'm saying? Like
very low bar. Very low bar. Yeah.
All right, fellas. So we'll wrap up for this one. But no, I appreciate you guys for hopping on the Ave, man. Like, it was much love to both of you guys for having this conversation, man.
Appreciate you, fellas. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Always a joy. Always a pleasure, man. Love talking football. So anytime we get the opportunity, I'm definitely down.
Yeah, man. No doubt. Thank you for checking out the latest edition of the Ave Podcast. Greatly appreciate all of you and all of your ears for listening on this episode. Special shout out to Carrie Joseph and Roger Calendar for hopping on this episode and talking all things NFL for the first week. So like I mentioned at the end of the podcast, I'm going to do something called like an NFL check-in. So every quarter until towards the end of the season, we're going to just come back and do like a quarterly episode on, what's happening in the NFL during that time period. Up until I would say about either week 13 or maybe week 15. And then from there, we'll probably go every week with the NFL talks anyway, and then until we get to the Super Bowl. So once we get to the playoffs, it'll be every week until that point. All right. So it'll be the NFL check-in. I don't know if I want to do it every week during the year, at least not yet. But the check-in is something I will be doing. So the next one will be after week 5. All right, so if we have the timing right, so that's every 4 weeks. So look out for that. And also next week, as I said, we're getting back into the swing of things and recording. One of the episodes I have in the stash is a new episode of My Story that'll be out on Friday. Please check that one out. You'll start seeing little pop-ups and things next week for it. That one is already in the can, ready to go. So look out for that. I also have an episode of Memory Lane that was long overdue. That's also in the can, ready to go. That will be out the week after that. The NBA is coming out in the near future, so there'll be lots of episodes on that. Plus, all things regarding the culture. I've been watching even during this gap of time, especially with Kendrick Lamar getting the Super Bowl halftime show, which is pretty insane. And I know he just put out a track this week as well, basically threatening to burn down the industry a la Nas after Ether in 2001 and 2002. At least the spirit of that anyway. So, that's not going to be over. I'll definitely be discussing that in the future as well. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you lock into my South Shore Ave website. Once again, that is southshoreave.com. One more time for the emphasis. That's southshoreave.com. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons wherever you're listening to the podcast as well. Specifically on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, tune in Alexa. Definitely checking all those ones, right? So definitely appreciate all the love and support, man, throughout this time period, man. And as always, it's never changed. So I definitely appreciate that. And one more thing as well. Oh, actually, what am I saying? Google does have Google Podcasts. What am I saying? Google Podcasts definitely has that. If you subscribe, check that in as well, I should say. Much appreciated to you. We'll be back next week once again with new episodes. So lock in, all right? For Carrie Joseph and Roger Callender, this is Cal C. And you just tuned into the latest episode of the Ave Podcast right here on South Shore Ave Radio. All right, until next week, we out.